So in 1984, for the very first time, a US gymnast scored a perfect 10 in gymnastics. That person was Peter Vidmar, and he got a 10 on the pommel horse. Now, you probably know a few people who have a pommel horse. Maybe you're even one of those people who have one downstairs in your game room. Well, I don't. In any event, Peter Vidmar goes around and he actually shares what his strategy was to get this perfect 10. I know when I grew up watching the Olympics, it was typically on a scale of 1 through 10, and someone would go through their routine, and the judges would put up their score, and it would be a 9.275. The next person would go be a 9.4.1. And it would always fall within that range, and I didn't quite understand how they did their scoring and how they came up with that. I just would look at one gymnast to the next or one athlete to the next, and I'd figure, okay, the professionals, they figure out how to score this thing. Peter describes that in order to score a perfect 10, it requires you to do even more than the basic fundamentals. If you do all the basic fundamentals of a routine that are required, in fact, and you do those flawlessly, you're going to get a 9.4. Think about that. I don't know about you, but I'd feel a little bit cheated. It's like I just did everything the way you asked it perfectly, and I'm getting a 9.4. Yes, in order to get a perfect 10, it requires you to do even more. So Peter went about getting that additional 0.6, all right, 10 to 9.4, by breaking it down into increments of 0.2. And he assigned an acronym to these 0.2s in order to get to that perfect 10. And they're right here to my side: risk, originality, and virtuosity. And what he went about doing was adding, number one, an element of risk to his routine. So think about this. He's got a number one, execute all the fundamentals flawlessly when the cameras are on, when the judges are watching. If he does that, then he adds this element of risk in that moment. He'll go from a 9.4 to a 9.6. See, I'm not even having you do the math. How about that? Now, the next thing was, he wanted to add an element of originality. This is something that the judges haven't seen before, something maybe that's just done in a different order. But once again, he's got to execute the fundamentals. He's got to do it when they're watching. Add this element of risk, add an element of originality. Do that when it counts. The cameras are on, millions of people watching, right? You do that, he's now up to a 9.8, an additional 0.2. Now, the last thing he called virtuosity. And when I think of virtuosity, I think of virtuoso. And when I think of a virtuoso, that's, of course, a musician. It's a musician who takes the notes on a page and just brings those notes together where it sounds magical. Even to someone like me who doesn't play an instrument, you just know it when you hear it. My daughter plays the piano. To me, she's a virtuoso, but she can play that Beethoven piece, Ode to Joy. But when a true virtuoso plays it, it's pretty amazing. It's almost magical. Now, in the context of gymnastics, Peter wanted to put together his routine, all those fundamental elements, the element of risk, the element of originality, and finally do all of that with virtuosity. And then doing that when the judges are watching, when the cameras are on, when the pressure's on. And in that moment, he did do that in the 1984 Olympics, and he scored a perfect 10. Now, the reason I share this story with you is because the reason you're here, why you're even watching this video at ZO, is you have made the Olympic team. Let's face it, we are the industry leaders. We're the ones to beat. And we recruit the best of the best. In any given day, we know you're going to deliver a 9.4 performance. It's just who you are. It's how you roll. Now, what we're looking for as a team is to maintain this leadership position is how can we always look to get a little bit better? And the way we do that is by, first of all, executing the fundamentals of what we do flawlessly, but then looking for ways to add incremental improvements, those 0.2s. How can we just be a little bit better each day? How can we just be a little bit better in this next appointment? How can we just be a little bit better with our preparation? And as we go through this course, I think it's really critical that we have this perfect 10 mindset. And it's always like this mindset of, I'm always looking to get a little bit better. And as you go through the materials here, it would be easy for you to say, well, I already know that, or I already do that. When you say that to yourself, I want that to trigger in your brain, okay, yeah, I already do that, but how can I do it a little bit better? How can I do that a little bit better in this next client meeting I have? How can I do this a little bit better when I put together this next sell-through promotion? How can I do this a little bit better when I do some education next time? And that's what the ROV Perfect 10 mindset is about. And that's really the mindset, our true north about the ZO sales playbook. It's how can we constantly be on our absolute A game? So, how does this guide work? Let me review with you how you can use this playbook, whether you're new or experienced, and get the most out of it. So the playbook is broken down into modules, and these modules are built based on what we observed and built by working with a team of account executives in the field. So this is not a program that we pulled off our shelves here and said, hey, go do this. This was really built from the ground up from the people who were successful doing it right now. Each module will laser in on a specific topic or a step in the sales process. It starts out with an introduction like this that sets it up. And then as you go through it, there's going to be a series of different types of pages that we're going to ask you to review. It's sometimes a list of best practices. Sometimes it's an exercise. And sometimes it's brainstorming questions. So when you go through this, what the video in the participant guide allow you to do, the playbook, if you will, is to go at your own pace, but also gives you the flexibility to do it when you have time. So do you have 10 minutes on your hands? You can invest 10 minutes. If you have 30 minutes on your hands, you can invest 30. If you're brand new to ZO, this might be something you invest a lot of time in so you can get up to speed quickly. But as you go through each module, I'll go through and have a conversation with you like this, and you'll be answering questions, oftentimes slowing down, maybe even stopping the video to reflect on some of these things. And we want to tap into your experience. And we believe that you come to the game with a lot of experience. And hopefully what we add to that is just helping you get a little bit better, how you can add some of those point twos, how you can be reminded of what are those fundamentals that I need to execute flawlessly. So ZO, so myself, I can maintain that leading position. I referenced this a bit earlier, but this program was developed by working hand in glove with the team here at ZO. In fact, it's my role really as a ghost author. I'm kind of like that ghost writer for ZO, where I've just observed and I've collected information and data from the team, from people who are successful right now, and I've collected all that stuff and I've put it into this ZO sales playbook. Now, my name is Bob Coakley, and I'm with a company called Upgrade Performance. A little background on myself so you know who you're working with is I've been doing this type of work for the last 20 years, and I'm fanatical about working with clients who are just truly want to be the best. They want to be world class. And over the last 20 years, I've had a chance to work with some pretty exceptional clients, some exceptional companies, and some exceptional leaders and sales people. I hope to bring that experience and combine it with the experience here at ZO to really put together one of the best programs in the industry, not only the industry, but in general for you. So you can really bring your A game each and every day. Now, the majority of the content that you're going to see in the sales playbook is primarily around the human interaction, how we can improve or make that human interaction better. As a salesperson, that comes in the forms of the communications and the meetings that you have, how you prepare for meetings, how you open up your meetings, verbally, how you communicate your messages and how you verbally communicate what you're motivating your accounts to do. And that's really what we laser in on this program. But to develop the program, we held an alignment meeting with senior leadership. We identified what the true north was for the organization and what we want to kind of set as our our goal as an organization and kind of who we want to be and how we want to get there. In addition to that, I conducted extensive discovery meetings, and that's with people up and down the organization, people from the field, people in headquarters, and any resources we could get our hands on, we tried to read that. In addition to that is getting out in the field. I've had the opportunity to ride along with account executives and actually observe them in action, working with practitioners, working with physicians, and watching them do cold calls, watching them do review meetings, watching them do merchandising and things like that. All of that has helped me ensure that what we've put together here is extremely relevant. Now, on this page, this is where you have the opportunity to maybe slow down for just a moment and think about that. Take a look, review what we've covered here. What are your thoughts? How do you like how this program was developed? How does it resonate with you? Slow down. You might stop the video and just answer this question and reflect on that for a moment. And I'll see you on the next page. So how to get the most out of this playbook. A little bit earlier, I shared with you in general how you can execute and actually review this playbook. And that's by going through it module by module, slowing down when there are reflection, brainstorming questions, answering those, and then reviewing at the end of each module questions you have and insights that you picked up or ideas you got that you're excited about putting into practice. On this page is really a collection of ideas on mindsets that you can keep in mind on how you can really squeeze everything you can out of this playbook and your experience of going through this training program. So I'm pretty sure you can read. So I'm not going to read off all of these. I certainly have a few favorites, but which one is yours? As you read through this, check off one or two that really captured your attention. Why? Why is that? And what are you going to do to take ownership of owning your development and maximizing all the information and all the great ideas we have in this playbook? Take a moment and reflect on that and answer the question down below. I've touched on this, right? This is how it works. Watch the videos, follow along in the playbook. Stop the video and answer questions. Watch, read, think, write. Read, think, write is read the pages. Write down your thoughts in the moment. You have a lot of experience. What else can you add to it? What could we add to this playbook to make it better? Because this is version 1.0. We're looking to make version 2.0. And then write those ideas down there. Now, it doesn't end there because we realize this is more of a guide, right? It's a framework to help you be successful. And chances are you're doing a lot of it already. And what we're looking for is what can we just do better and maybe add to our current routine. But a good way to really squeeze even more out of it is once you've done a module is to connect with your coach. That could be a trainer. It could be your director. It could be a vice president. It could be anyone else in the organization. It could be another account executive, and close the loop and ask them, hey, what do you do? Or this was an idea I got. I'd love to get your take on it. Because there's only so much we can do in this book, but we believe the richness comes from the conversations that you engage in after you go through each module. And the last thing I put here is we believe sales is just like working out in a gym. And when you have a workout partner, a colleague maybe that you can work out together. That could be with verbal practice, practicing your ZO value proposition. Maybe you're going to practice on how you're going to do an introduction for a customer event that you're going to be hosting. Maybe it's how you're going to open up a meeting for a really important meeting that you have coming up and how you're going to set the agenda, and you want to just nail that. So get a sales workout partner, someone where you can verbally practice some of the techniques that we go over here. So this is just one part of it, but really where it gets completed is in those discussions you have after you've reviewed the playbook. Don't think of this as checking off the box type of thing. Think of this as just triggering ideas on how you can be a better you. So at the end of each module, we have a summary, and this is your chance to reflect on that module. This module was relatively short. We covered some introductory things. We talked about the perfect 10 mindset, how you can really make the most out of it. So not even that long. And we're going to try to make sure all of the modules are super relevant and immediately useful. We try to pack them with practical and tactical ideas. At the end of each, to make sure you really grasp those and really put them into play, we ask a couple of questions at the end. You can answer those in the playbook. In addition to that, we'll have some online questions, and we typically put 2, maybe 3 at the end of each, which will cause you to reflect and say, okay, those are good ideas, but which ones am I going to put into practice? Because one of the things we know about top performers, and we know about people here at ZO, is it's not what you know, it's what you do. And the folks here at ZO, they do it. Anyone knows how to do a lot of this stuff, but are you executing it on your next call? Is this showing up in your calendar next week? And those are the things that we're going to be challenging you to do. So this wraps up our introduction. Go ahead, complete the questions below, reflect on this. And then number 2, complete the online questions as well. And then lastly, it's your job to make sure you schedule some time with your coach, your trainer, to make sure you close the loop on this module and have a conversation with them. Ask them for their advice and any additional things that they would suggest that could help you get off to a fast start, help you be a better you. Sound good? All right, we'll see you in the next module.